Hi, welcome to Man of Steel Fan Gives Hope, the Facebook page on YouTube. I'm speaking on Facebook. I was basically disappointed. You know, as my Facebook began, we what you know the reason why I started it was to defend the Man of Steel uh, fan movie, and I was getting sick, and I've said all this previous DVDs, and I was getting sick of the hatred and stuff from both sides. When I joined these groups, so hence I started what I wanted to be a positive page, a fortress of solitude, so to speak. And I thought, right, I'll lay down the rules, comment positively. And I started off as a Man of Steel fan. You have some Man of Steel sort of page, and gradually I felt like I had to defend everything. So, and within a week or two of me starting the page, it became a DC page for everything because I'm a fan of DC in general, and I thought, I don't want to start making a page, and it's a page. It's not a group. It's not where everybody can post things straight away. It's a select few editors that post stuff, and so as Man of Steel grew, we defended it and stuff. And then when Batman v Superman came out, we defended that. We defended the comics, and then Suicide Squad came out, and we defended that. Wonder Woman, and even films now that I know out there. So occasionally, we put things on Facebook that seems to be getting a lot of negative press, so we concentrate on that. The ones recently was either the Justice League films, the Wonder Woman. Surprisingly, yes, we had to defend Wonder Woman, and we had, and then we've been defending Ben Affleck since he was announced he was to be Batman. And then we've been defending the film Batman, even though it's not been started to make. So some of our posts have been, around about Batman. And then there's people complaining now. There's people on my Facebook being presumptuous about why are we defending Batman. We're meant to be a Superman page, and the description on my Facebook page, the video intro, everything basically saying we are a DC page, not just one character. And I hate all of this. I'm a Superman fan. I am a Batman fan. I hate that. I love both. I'll defend both. Love them equally. But you get these people, these DC fans, that sort of make us look bad. I'm afraid that they have just got this hatred in for each other. It's like two football teams. And I don't even think Marvel has got anything like that, and and it puts DC fans in a bad light. And so I've had to again explain what the page is all about and why it's called Man of Steel Fan Gives Hope. It's because the page was inspired by it. This YouTube was inspired by it. And that's why I'm keeping the name, and that's why I keep the profile Man of Steel, but it's not entirely all Superman. It's everybody connected to the DCU. So I got this interesting comment on one of my YouTube videos, and apologise if I read out your name wrongly. It's Boo Boo or Babu Seaman. It's spelled Bobhu, and then it's Simen. So Babu Simon. Right, I hope that's correct. I apologise if it's not. But he wrote an interesting comment, It says, I'm a fan both of the MCU and the DCU, although I'm more partial to the DCU as I've always preferred DC properties due to growing up with them. Aside from Spider-Man and Hulk, quite similar. I wasn't even familiar with Marvel until the Renaissance began with the first X-Men film in 2000. I cannot stand the blatant continuity debacle of the X-Men franchise. I've just learnt to look at each film as a standalone, although it doesn't take a rocket scientist to outline a timeline or maintain character files. And strictly looking at the different approaches with each franchise, I initially was more partial that of the MCU. But as the DCEU began to take shape with the release of BVS and Suicide Squad, I really began to enjoy the grimmer tone and lack of constant, quippy one-liners. I like that, and I hope you check out some of the links at the end of this video, or my linked videos on Man of Steel Fan Gives Hope from Film Gob. He's patched these film edits about the Marvel and the one-liners. It's quite an interesting read. Quippy one-liners. Though, truth be told, in a perfect situation, I would prefer a franchise that's a merger of the two, 75% DCU and 25% MCU. But if I were faced with having to choose two films of both franchises combined to have on a desert island with a television and electricity, hands down it would be Man of Steel and BVS Ultimate Edition. I'm loving you here. I'm curious as to your opinion. Do you think that these films are gradually becoming cult classics, underrated and misunderstood for their time, and appreciate more with the passage of time? I really do believe so. Speaking for myself, I connected with neither Man of Steel nor BVS when they were initially released. I didn't hate them, but I didn't love them either. And in preparation for the release of BVS, I revisited the Man of Steel and something clicked. I thoroughly enjoyed it a hell of a lot more than I had previously, and with BVS, though I hated it after seeing it 3 times theatrically, I absolutely fell in love with the Ultimate Edition of the film with my first viewing. My issues obviously has to do with the studio butchered theatrical version, and I don't really consider myself a highly intelligent person. I was an average school student and didn't complete college, but it crossed my mind that if I could see the beautiful films and Man of Steel and BVS, there has to be a multiple other people whose opinions of the films have approved or will improved also. Sorry for the lengthy message, but I would appreciate any response. Thanks. That is, listen, don't put yourself down. Education wise or whatnot, I went through school and I was not a very confident person. Thought I wasn't going to achieve much, and I found out, later on in life that I did have a hearing problem, and it got fixed later on, but I caught it too late. And by that time, my confidence had shot down low, and and um, and it took many years, even to this day, just to realise, that we are what our DNA makes us, and it's not entirely our fault. We just got to accept ourselves being that way. And recently, I was helping someone with homework, and I live in an area where there's a lot of educated people out there, and my help was the one that actually won through. Mine was the only one right, and it was, and everybody around me is well educated, and I'm the only one in the area that got it all right. So so no, not, as I say, I know you don't think anybody's better than you. Well, you better not anyway. But it's just, I read everywhere that people have these mental stresses and breakdowns, and even the rich and the popular and stuff like that. And and people turn to drink because of these similar things that happen to them in school. And my theory is, first of all, talk to yourself. to accept yourself, and as long as you go through life being doing things that you would think that is the right thing to do, even though it's sacrificing things that would be better than you, as long as you feel that it's a better choice, it's a greater good, so to speak, and that way you can go through life feeling much, much better about yourself. I know that you weren't talking that deeply in your message, but it's the education thing side of things. And you just never know what's around the corner. So don't ever think with it. And your letter's brilliant. And I just about agree with everything you said there. I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube, and I've had to listen to a lot of the biased stuff that's out there, but some people have actually mentioned some similar things, so it's not just you. And I was watching a documentary one time about it was an interview, sorry, with Morgan Freeman, and Morgan Freeman said to them that, the film that really boosted his career, I would have said glory, but he was talking about the Shawshank Redemption. And when that came out in the cinemas, it bombed. It didn't do well, and he put it down to just the title of the film. He put it down, but on DVD, and I miss Blockbusters. The Blockbusters, for those too young enough to remember, was just a place you would go down and you'd rent a videotape. You probably don't know what a videotape is, or a DVD, and you would rent it out, and it was just excitement. And it was there then it was made a hit, and on TV people started warming up to it. Now, probably the big difference with Batman v Superman is, and even though there are people out there that love, I like both editions, but now I would watch BVS Ultimate only because it's just got more minutes to it. But sadly, when it comes to the TV release of these films, they normally go by what was released in the cinema, and they very rarely put on TV any extended or director's cut. For some reason, it's always the cinema release. But maybe gradually through time, people that see it on TV will be curious enough to go and see the or rent or buy the Ultimate Edition. But yes, I do believe Man of Steel and BVS Ultimate Edition will grow to iconic status. We've had a director mention it already. I can't remember the director's name. I said it in one of my other videos. But he had watched this BVS film, and he thought it was a masterpiece. Now he's a big director in America. He's going to go places, and he said exactly the same thing that we are saying just now. And the reason how I found out about it was through the Film Junkie. Yeah, and he said that this film will be one of these films, just like Shawshank Redemption, that will find fame in years to come as it's released. The problem that it's had for me is because, and I've said this a million times, is when you go and see a movie, you've got all of these inner ideas of what you want, and especially for comic book heroes, for comic book superheroes, you've got this vision of yourself. And as I said at the start of this video, about having to deal with DC fans that are either Superman fans or Batman fans, and they arguably in the face. So they've got their vision of what Superman's like, and people have got their own visions of what Batman's like. And I'm not just talking about fans like us. I'm talking about these so-called educated journalists or some educated critics out there whose idea of Batman is the 1960s or colourful sort of Batman. And then you've got Batman fans that prefer and I've read these nasty comments, Batman fans that grew up with them in the 80s. who seem to be more joking and laughing and stuff. But you know, you can always get those types of Batman in comics and cartoons and stuff. I quite like the dark approach in some of the comics because it's more of the Batman that I sort of imagined myself, but I know that's not to everybody's liking. And we've already had in the movies, we've had this dark Batman. Now, in the film BVS, it's clearly stated that this is the first time Bruce Wayne has been acting the way he's acting, you know, with killing people that kind of got in the way, but not forefront going out his way to kill them. It's like, you know, I'll throw this, and if you throw this to me, I'll bounce it off some wall, and if you're still there, if you die, that sort of approach. But he's, you know, he doesn't go out his way to kill people unless necessary. But it is when he's in a dark place, and now we're going to see him be light up thanks to Superman showing him how he is, uh, and and then he gave Deadshot the handcuffs and stuff. But people just feel the need that they are right and their characters should be portrayed the way they want. And I've said this, and I'm sure I've made a DVD about it called Based On. It's that you're never ever going to get a character on the big screen the way you want it, because what you want may not be what the guy next to you or the woman next to you wants to see. So how do you balance it out? You have to just make a character based on the guy. Because every Batman comic that you read by every different artist or comic book writer will come up with a different version of him. But as long as there's things in his character that's still intact. Now, as time goes by, people who have seen Wonder Woman, they may have seen Justice League. And I know a wee girl that's went to see Wonder Woman, and she was right into Harry Potter. And I didn't think Wonder Woman would be her thing, but she heard the kids talking about it in school, so she goes along to it and she sees it and she loves it. And she's seen my the Art of Wonder Woman book, and it's enticed me now to say, well, listen, if you like that, you should check out BVS when she first gets introduced. And that's how these films will become sort of recognised. And maybe the history of these films being so, you know, 50-50 when it comes to likes or dislikes, that adds more to the film. You know, I mean, there's a lot of sci-fi films out there that you love or you hate, but that's what makes them good, because it's controversial. You know, you can take things like Dune, or TV shows like Twin Peaks, or people that love Games of Thrones, or people that have never seen Star Wars or whatnot that doesn't get it and stuff. But it's not until they see a film or something that they like that make them say, I've got to try that. And so with BVS coming out the way it is, and Man of Steel coming out the way it is, people will be going back down and say, right, I know what I'm going in for. I'm just going to, and I've accepted that, I'm going to sit down and watch it. So, and that is why I see a film more than once. And you said yourself you saw it 3 times in the message, is because there's a part of you that wants to love it, and they're not too sure if you love it. Are you loving it just because you want to love it? I mean, I've heard people on critic shows like Collider or whatnot that said they've seen it 5 or 6 times. Believe me, if you've seen a film 5 or 6 times and not sure if you liked it, you'll like it. You know, I mean, some of us can't afford to go to the pictures so many times, or have the free time to go to see the same film 5 or 6 times. It's just because it's because we get ourselves so hyped up about a film. We get ourselves too tied up in knots that we can't just go to see a film and just relax and watch it. And that's one of the many things that's going against these superhero movies, is the anticipation of seeing things that mean something to you. I mean, you don't get that when you go to see a thriller. Like, I've got Nocturnal Animals there, right? I've no idea what it's about, or Cop Car with Kevin Bacon. No idea what the film's about. Got the synopsis, but I've got no thing about it because it's not something, I've never read the books about them, I've never done this about them. So I'm going to go there, I'm going to sit and relax, and I'm not caring if I'm going to enjoy it or not. But when it's something that you've been reading most of your life or whatever, and you're passionate about, of course you're going to think with it. And what I've said about trailers, you spend most of the time watching the film, you're trying to figure out, oh, I seen that bit in the trailer, why was this bit not in the trailer? And then when you've seen the trailer, you're hyped up, you've got a wee story already played in your head of what the film's to be, and then when you go and see it, you're tense, sitting through it and going, all right, okay, did I enjoy that? Was that great? What did you think? I need to go and see it again. I really do. I really need to see it again. And then you go and see it a second time. You sort of know it, and then you enjoy it more. You get a wee bit more out. And the more times you watch, the more fine you are. And these films have come out with critical negativity. So you're already been told that you're not going to like it, that it's bad. You go on social websites and it says it's dark, it's gritty, and you're being brainwashed by the Marvel Cinematic Universe that says everything's got to be light in colour, you've got to have funny quotes, tirelessly funny quotes all throughout the film. And when you go and see that, that's what you expect, and then you get something different, and then you went, whoa, that's deep, that's dark, and whatnot. And as we all know in the Marvel sort of universe, baddies don't stay dead. And then you're watching this and you've seen Jonathan Kent die, and then you see this person dying, and Zod getting his neck snapped. But whoa, this is not a superhero movie. No, it is a superhero movie. It's a whole new look. It's a whole new. Maybe you aren't quite ready for it. There's been lots of films that have been made that you could clearly say it was ahead of its time. 2001 Space Odyssey, films like that, they're just, it's not ready for the more modern audience. You take you take the older generation that and you show them something like this, they'll say, oh, it's not the same films as the black and white ones. It is just, but in years to come, and you sit down and you put it down, your anxiety over the film dies down, your wish fulfillment has died down, you sit down and you just watch it as a film. You watch it expecting nothing, gaining, and you watch it, and then you suddenly realise you've enjoyed the film. And then the next thing you know, because there's no press surrounding it, there's no critical, you'll go out and say, have you tried this BVS? Oh, is that film done 5-6 years ago? I heard it was rubbish. I've got a neighbour still not seen it. I said, no, watch it, here's the ultimate cut, just you watch it, I think it's good, and I think it's, and then as you go online and you see all these people that have got so much, they got so much out of BVS Ultimate, all the hidden gems and all the double meanings and religious quotes, whatever, and the symbolism and signarism. So you know what I mean. You can get them all on YouTube, and how the skulls you see in Man of Steel when he sinks into them is quite the same as Man of Steel when he rescues the wee girl from the burning fire, and you've got the Day of the Dead there. Was that symbolic to each other? And Zach comes out and says yes. So you get more out of it. And yeah, I do believe these films have just come out of a time when people are just being brainwashed into what makes a superhero movie and what is to be expected to be in one. And people will flock. I've heard people stand up in the audience and on BVS and say, finally, I'm a superhero film, and these are coming from adults that was in the cinema, and they must have been getting tired of the Marvel films and they want something different. But right now, the general public probably don't feel that they need something different. And that's why they've already got this hatred towards this, because it's not Marvel. But when all your anxiety, when all your anticipation for ones die down, you enjoy it. You've seen Wonder Woman, You're going to sit back, go back to Man of Steel, BVS, tell the whole story, and then when it all starts fitting into place, you'll be like, that was brilliant. So that is my theory about the whole thing. I mean, I can list a few films I believe should be up there. Uh, Murder in the First, Kevin Bacon, based on a true story or true incidents that happened on Alcatraz. Right, the film may not be accurate to what actually truly happened, but the performances in that film was fantastic. Kevin Bacon, Gary Oldman starred in it. Christian Slater, I believe, as well. And I thought Kevin Bacon deserved an Oscar for that. But it never really got much in the way of cinema. And it just sort of, for me, fell to DVD. And I can list, so many other movies that you probably might never have heard of, or Midnight Sting or something like that. The Prophecy, even, I love The Prophecy with Christopher Walken. Bubba Hotep, great wee comedy. Bruce Campbell, Elvis Presley, and a coloured man playing JFK. I loved the film. But again, it's all about marketing and getting word out there. I mean, how many times have you went to a cinema and not know what you were going to see? You know, we need more backing for other films. We need more low budget movies. We need this. We need a variety of films, so that when you do go and see something that is completely different, it's a less shocker. And I think maybe in time people will realise that it's a really, really good thing that DCU is not copying Marvel. Now, some people might say, oh, they've learnt the lesson with Wonder Woman, they're doing it. Not really. As I say, the story was by Zack Snyder. He wrote it. It was meant to be about love and stuff, set during World War One, and any humour that was in it was, it just felt like it was in the right place, and it wasn't in every scene. It didn't take away the tragedy of the war that you sometimes get with a Marvel film when people get, a hurt leg. They don't make a joke about it. It's well placed, and if they keep DC going, it'll be a great arc. It'll be dark films gradually going on to Dawn of Justice. I mean, Justice League will probably mean 10 times as much. It'll mean more when you start watching it from the very first, going through the heroes going through this dark phase, and then the resurrection. And I don't, there will never be another time in superhero history where you'll have this resurrection of a superhero, especially after these so-called dark films. You're never going to have this sort of tale be told before. After Justice League, it's finished. I mean, I'm not finished, but that's brilliant story arc of heroes finding themselves and being accepted. You're not going to get that. People already accepted the Avengers, but people are not, just like the films, they're not accepting these movies just yet, but in time they will. And in time they will accept these films for what they are and what they try to be. And we've got to praise the director and all the people behind these films daring enough to make this type of film and not follow the same genre that's came before them, and they've went out and they've made something completely different. Now, a lot of critics have said that dangers of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that they're all starting to feel the same, and with the colour palette they're using, it is like watching a TV movie. But with BVS, and you can say what you want about BVS, if you love it or you hate it, it felt more cinematic, and it felt like they were taking risks, and this is what will be appreciated. So yes, these films will become cult classics. It's just up to us to convince the other people that. So get out there and convince them, and let's make it so. This is John Luke Picard, Star Trek Next Generation. Well, and again, there's another one. Look, the Next Generation. I'm a big fan of the original series of Star Trek, and it took a long time for me to even watch the Next Generation because it's not Star Trek, you know. It's not just Star Trek without, you know, Captain Kirk. But after a while, yep, I've accepted it. Fans are just vicious people, you know. Vicious. Some people in the Star Trek couldn't get over the Enterprise TV series because the Klingons had had that bit on their forehead. You know, fans are just, we're our greatest enemies. You know, we are so bad at being that. Sometimes I wish I could become a non-fan and see it as the general public. You know, see it as my friends do who don't read comics and stuff like that. You know, ask somebody that doesn't know anything about comics, right? Get them to watch it and then see what they think. Well, I hope that's answered your question, and thank you for your comment. And I just hope this is helped out in any way. And I'm sorry for speaking for 31 minutes. So thanks very much, and be positive out there.